Okay, good morning, class.
Good morning.
So before we start, Larry, can you please lead the prayer?
Gusto nga, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataong ito, sa pagkakataong dito kami upang maturo at sana po igabayan po kami lagi at magkaroon kami ng sulat na kaalaman para magamit namin sa pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. Ingatan mo po ang bawat isa sa amin at magkaroon kami ng lakas at sapat na pangunawa para sa bawat araw na pag-aaral natin. Ito'y dalangin ko sa araw ng aming Panginoong Hesus. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Thank you very much, Larry. Okay, good morning. So I suppose you've learned something from our discussion last meeting. Now, may I ask you
What you've learned, or your understanding, or your reflection that you have earned last minute. Anybody from the class? Who wants to volunteer? Miss Hazel? Any reflection or understanding from our last discussion?
So last discussion, we discussed about the high quality assessment in retrospect. Based on what I have learned, there are five methods of high quality assessment, which are categorized yung sa general categories niya, which are the written response instrument, wherein nakapaloob dito yung sa mga multiple choices na test, yung essay, and yung true or false. Then next is the product rating scales. So dito po nire-rate natin yung kung hindi ako nakamali yung mga test, yung halimbawa yung sa digital or online mga portfolio, dito papasok yung sa product rating scale. Next is the performance test, na kung saan mini-measure yung kung na-achieve ba ni students yung performance or na-perform ba niya ng tama yung task na pinapagawa ni teacher. And then next is the oral questioning. So in oral questioning, dito po natin, dito ni teacher na-test yung stock knowledge ni students about sa certain topics. Next is, and last is the observation and self-report. So dito, dito para lang din siyang ito ginagamit siya in conjunction with oral questioning din po. And then aside from that, we've also discussed po the validity, the reliability, the fairness, positive consequences, and practicality and efficiency.
Okay, very good. The first part that you've mentioned are examples of appropriateness of method. Then the second one you've mentioned are parts of the properties of methods. So those rank the category themselves. They are parts of the appropriateness of method and the properties. Are we clear? Yes. Anybody? Okay, Ms. Cherry.
So in addition po, we also tackled about the purpose of high quality assessment po. Wherein the purpose po of conducting high quality assessment is to ask by asking teachers asking why are you doing this assessment. Then the purposes are assessment for learning, assessment for certification, protect academic standard, and for feedback for teaching po.
Very good. So you've mentioned are the purposes meaning to say that we need a purpose before designing a assessment. Okay, very good. Anybody? What else? Okay. Let us have Miss to video module. Any anything that you can consider from our last discussion? Hmm? Okay. May I just ask you na lang, what are the the targets that we have in assessment? Learning target.
What I can remember from our last discussion is the two types of targets are the learning and cognitive target.
Okay, very good, Miss Maggie. That again, the two targets that we need to consider in making an assessment are learning target and cognitive target. Meron pa ba? The class? Okay, if there is none, again, what are the first thing that we should consider in making an assessment? Start with letter P, ends with letter E.
Purpose.
Very good. So, what are the two targets that we have in assessment?
Learning target and cognitive target.
Very good. And what are the two things that we should consider or the category in making an assessment method?
Appropriateness of assessment method and properties of assessment method.
Very good. And now, as far as I can remember, one of your classmates asked me, paano po ba mag-fail yung assessment? Now, may I present you? No, wait, this cycle. Okay, so what your classmate Miss Cherry, as far as you can remember, sabi niya, paano po kapag nag-fail yung assessment? So I'd like you to consider this cycle. As you can see, we have here a plan. So, pag sinabi natin plan, this is where you set your purpose. There is, in here, this is where you create your objectives. In planning, this is where you set your learning outcomes. Okay? So, all of those things are settled, should be settled here in plan. Okay? So, meaning to say, when making an assessment, there should always be a plan. Very good. So, next naman is the assess. After planning, you assess. Anong ina-assess dito? The learning the objectives that you've settled in the plan. So, yung lahat ng objectives that you have gathered formulated here shall be assessed in the second stage. So, are these objectives applicable? Are these attainable? Should this really be selected? Okay, you consider those questions. And if you think it is, then go for analyze. Analyze. What are you going to analyze? The learning outcomes that you have assessed. Assess mo, i-analyze mo. Will this guarantee na at the end of the lesson, makaka-receive ka ng positive feedback from the students? Or tingin mo ba at the end of the lesson, makakabigay ka rin ng positive feedback sa students mo? Ano, a-analyze mo, if this learning outcomes says that you can measure the ability of the students, the knowledge of the students, the values of the students, and then go for the implementation. Stop ka dito sa analyzation, i-apply mo na. Don't hesitate kung tingin mo naman attainable yung objectives. Don't hesitate. Go for it. You're good to go. Apply mo na doon sa At kapag nasettle mo na at nagkaroon ng result yung assessment mo, that is where you improve or reflect. Improve, kung tingin mo may mga palya pa. Reflect, kung tingin mo naman, may mga lapses. Or, sabihin natin kung, if it is a success, if your assessment really measures all those learning outcomes or learning objectives, and then you create another plan that is guided by this assessment cycle. Are we clear? Again, setting a plan, assessing the learning outcomes that you've settled in the plan, then analyze those learning outcomes, implement, and then improve. Claro?
Yes.
There's no question, and then let's proceed to the continuation of our discussion.
Okay, so let's continue. Wait. Reliability, validity, and practicality. Okay, so the problem is, the more reliable the test is, the less valid. And the more valid a test is, the less reliable. And the more practical a test is, well, generally, the less valid. So, the solution here is, or what we are going to do is, in everything, we need a balance in making exam and in both exams and exam items. The solution here is, in everything, we need a balance in both exam and exam items. So yun nga, dun sa nilesson namin is, we have to consider in making a test paper, in considering making test items. So, it is important na maging reliable tayo sa paggawa ng exam and maging valid yung test items na ginagawa natin. So, ethics and in assessment. So, we all know that ethics is a branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. So, in ethics, we know what is right and what is wrong. And in ethics in assessment, we have to be fair and transparent with our students, and we need to be honest with them in giving them assessment. So, why is it important to be honest in giving them assessment or feedback? Anyone?
Providing feedback is very important. If we doesn't, hindi natin napansin yung kahit konting mali, patuloy na gagawin niyo ng mga bata. So, dapat po, tama po talaga yung pag-feedback. Itama yung mga mali. And yung mga tama, syempre, bigyan ng mga praises and positive comment.
Okay po, tama po yun. So, dapat magbibigay tayo ng positive feedback sa mga bata para alam natin, or para alam nila yung mga, kung tama ba o mali yung ginagawa nila. So, we have to consider all of that. And, in ethics in assessment, conforming to the standards of conduct of given profession or group. So, in this, the ethical standards for teacher, is we have to be a role model or a good example to our students. So, syempre, kung ano yung nakikita ng student sa atin is probably yun yung yun yung gagayahin nila, yun yung, syempre, kung ano yung nakikita nila, so akala nila is correct na yung tama na yung ginagawa nila. And as a teacher, it is important to become a role model kasi nga, yun yung gagayahin. And syempre, tayo na rin yung tumatayong second parents nila here inside the school or the classroom. And of course, yun nga, gaya na sinabi ko nung nakaraan is dapat is respect natin yung mga students inside and outside the classroom. Conforming to the standards of conduct of given a professional group. So, in ethical standards for teachers, it is important to be a role model or to be a good example for the students. So, for you, why is it important to be a role model to the students or to our students? Why is it important to show good examples to them? Anyone?
So, since we are a teacher, most of our students tend to copy what we do. Therefore, being a role model is one of our role as a teacher. Since yung mga bata is masabi namin, parang sinasabi din ko sa ating before na mas pinapaniwalaan pa nila tayo kaysa sa kanilang magulang. Parang ako kasi sinabi ko ni teacher, ito yung gagawin ko. Kaya dapat tayo mga teacher maging aware tayo sa ating mga ginagawa. Kung tama pa ba siya o hindi.
Yes, tama po yung sinabi ni Miss Rafael na kung ano yung nakikita ng students natin is yun yung talagang ginagaya nila. Siyempre, mas pinaniniwalaan nga nung karamihan ng mga bata yung sinasabi ng teacher. Di ba nga, nung mga bata tayo is kunyari may tatamain yung magulang natin, tapos, ay hindi, sabi to ni teacher, ganito dapat, ganito, ganyan. So, therefore, talagang malaki yung chance or talagang tayo yung kalimitang ginagaya ng mga bata. And, of course, we have to be fair. So, syempre, yun nga, lahat naman tayo is hate yung favoritism, di ba? So, of course, to avoid favoritism or to avoid na yung feelings nila is, ano bang tawag doon, ano bang term doon, is parang mabaliwala. Syempre, kailangan natin i-balance, we have to, yun nga, mabalance yung treatment natin sa bawat isa. So, syempre, hindi lang si ganito, hindi lang si ganyan, tatawagin mo. So, syempre, lahat is bibigyan mo ng opportunity na makapagsawat at maka-express ng opinions or feelings nila. So, and also, we have to be respectful. Syempre, kahit bata yan is, parang dapat nating i-respect yung opinions nila. Syempre, di ba sabi sa atin nung teacher natin is, parang sa bata din is may maa-adapt or may makukuha kang lesson na galing sa kanila na hindi mo nakukuha sa mga kaedad natin or sa matatanda na minsan is talagang nakukuha natin o natututunan natin sa mga bata. So here are the ethical issues that may be raised. So number 1 is the possible harm to the participants. So, yun nga, gaya ng sabi ko is, kailangan physical, emotional, and mental is dapat okay sila. So, syempre, let's avoid embarrassing our students in front of their classmates. So, of course, kapag na-feel na nilang, kunyari, one time is na-embarrass or napahiya sila in front of their classmates. So, probably na mawawalan silang ganang pumasok, mawawalan silang ganang magpatuloy mag-aral. So, syempre, doon parang mawawalan silang ganang mag-continue sa lahat and mawawalan sila ng gana. Confidentiality. So, in this, we are obliged to safeguard the entrusted information that the students give, and also we have to keep the sensitive information that comes from them. So, why is it important that we have to keep their privacy safe? So, anyone? O bakit sa tingin ninyo kailangan is ano ba? Bakit sa tingin niyo is kailangan bakit sa tingin niyo is kailangan na parang yun nga ano ba tawag dito? Yung yung anong kailangan yung term bakit kailangan ng privacy ng mga students?
Siguro yung tinutukoy mo yun, halimbawa, bawat na ipapakita lang. Kung kumbaga nga yung mga video ng mga teacher grabe, yung bilang in terms of kanya, as a teacher dapat. Alam mo din yung limitation mo kung ano yung ibibigay mong information sa iba. Like halimbawa, kilalang tao pala yung magulang ng bata. Halimbawa, anak ng mayor. Diba? Wow, halimbawa lang, estudyante mo yung anak ng mayor or halimbawa, artist ka. Kailangan mo pa din kahit sabihin mo anak din ng mahirap, kailangan mo pa din siya nang protektahan yung privacy niya. Kasi halimbawa, may kaaway mo magulang, kaibigan dun sa bata, gamitin din. Para ng di ba binanggit mo, as a teacher, second parent ka tayo. Ikaw, mo din yun, ang responsibilidad mo din yun, protect mo yung kahit anong boss, yung ikaw as a second parent, kailangan mo protektahan yung bata. Saka kahit yun, di ba, about naman sa confidentiality or privacy ng grade. Siyempre, kailangan din natin di ba, at kahit tayo college, lagi tayo tinatanong tayo ng teacher na, gusto nyo ba yung scores nyo? Or individual ba natin Kasi siyempre, kahit nahihiya pa din baga silang sabihin na bobot naman. Minsan, lalo pag bata, pag ina-announce siya, grabe yung ang ganda. Ay, ang bobo ko, di ba? Doon pa din, in a way, dapat ikaw, masanay ka din. Always ask your student kung okay ba sa'yo. Parang, lagi ka mag-a-ask sa kanila ng permission. Kahit ikaw yung ate.
Yes. Miss Hazel?
Another addition lang sa sinabi ni Ate Desiree, giving your students confidentiality and privacy is one way para ma-respect mo din nga yung katulad nga yung sabi niya katulad sa mga grades. And especially, meron kasing may mga instance kasi na sa students is, di ba merong mga, katulad din, si teacher, inaalam niya yung mga background. If, halimbawa, may isang estudyante siya na may iba na yung mga ibang behavior, di ba, kinakausap niya yung bata or simple yung magulang. Tapos, ang mangyayari, kailangan si teacher is, hindi nga parang igawin niyang private yung yun kasi it happens dun sa pinsan ko. Tinanong siya ni parang kinausap yung magulang and then si teacher sinabi dito sa isang teacher. Well, di ba parang nagkaroon na provoke na yung right yung confidentiality, yung privacy ng bata. Sinabi nito isang teacher and then ang tendency yung issues or yung problema ng bata is kumalat na hanggang sa napunta na siya, nalaman na din. And then, nag-cause siya ng issues, yung katulad nga, yung harm dun sa bata, na parang nandahil lang dun sa, nandahil lang dun sa isang pagkamali nga ni teacher na yung privacy ng bata is hindi na inisip, na-expose yung ng bata.
So,
Additional lang po sa confidentiality and privacy. Siyempre tayo as a teacher, tayo yung nagkatula ng mga students natin na mag-keep yung information about sa kanila. Tayo is wala namang karapatan ng kahit sino na ilabas yung information sa kanila na hindi alam ng mga estudyante kasi parang disrespectful yun sa part nila kasi sino naman tayo, di ba, para ilabas yung information. So tayo dapat maging trustworthy tayo as a teacher.
So, since nabanggit na yung trust, syempre, hindi lang naman kasi yung students na nagbibigay sa atin ng trust. So, pati yung parents nila, binibigyan tayo ng trust. So, meaning to say, yung confidentiality nila, hindi lang siya between the students and the teacher. So, syempre, yung confidentiality na yun, nasabi na nila yung about sa, yung sa status, sa grades, and yung whatsoever na syempre, as a teacher, meron tayong limitation, hindi porket teacher tayo, pwede tayong lumagpas sa boundary na, ay teacher ako, pwede kong sabihin kahit kanino yung sa kanya. Syempre, privacy na nila yun na, hindi dapat pwede malaman ng kahit na sino. Kasi alam naman natin sa each of us is, meron tayong kanya-kanyang privacy na dapat sa atin lang or between the two of us,
Tapos parang dapat hindi natin i-broke yung trust ng students natin, pati ng family nila.
So, may magdaragdag pa po? So, yun nga, gaya ng mga sinabi nila, is kailangan is tayo rin sa atin yung nagmumula yung tiwala ng mga bata dahil yun yung binigay sa atin ng kanilang parents. Siyempre, wala sila sa school, so hindi nila alam yung mga possible harms na maaaring mangyari sa mga anak nila. So, syempre kung may anak kayo, hayaan nyo bang parang mag-leak na lang yung information na parang ikakakos na kanilang emotional distress? Di ba hindi? So, syempre, yun nga, gaya din ng experience nung family ni Miss Manuel is, yun nga, nangyari na din siya talaga personally sa akin. Na before, elementary ako, so syempre, family, problems na rin. And then ayun, parang nabanggit ni Mama yun sa teacher ko. And then yung teacher, ang daldal, talagang, alam mo yun, yung parang yung kadaldalan niya is parang, nasobrahan and nakwento dun sa na talagang nakarating sa akin. So, ako, yung teacher na pinagkwento niya is tinanong sa akin. So, syempre, bata, hindi magsisinungaling. O di nalaman, o di yung kadaldalan ng teacher is talaga nagkalat na. And syempre sa akin, nag-cause yun na parang, kalat na pala, ay, parang marami na pala nakakaalam. And hanggang ngayon, dala-dala ko yun, na parang naiisip ko pag nakikita ko yung teacher na yun, iiwas ako. Parang, so syempre, yun nga, gaya ng experience ko, is kailangan ilayo natin yung mga bata sa ganong klaseng So dapat tayo, as a future educator, kailangan natin ipakita yung class na dapat meron sa bawat isa sa atin. At, ayun, so, malinaw?
Yes.
Okay, so, the presence of concealment or deception. So, in here, concealment is concealment and deception is not telling the whole truth or telling something that is not true. So, syempre, kapag nagtuturo tayo, dapat yung mga informations na nakapaloob sa report natin or sa topic natin is dapat, reliable informations. So, syempre, kung ano yung nabasa o yung sinabi mo sa mga bata is yun na talaga, yung para sa kanila is tama. Syempre, sinabi mo, di ba? So, gaya ng sinabi kanina is, kung ano yung nakikita ng bata is yun yung talaga yung gagayahin nila. At syempre, yung mas pinaniniwalaan nga nila yung teacher kaysa sa parents. Most of the time. So, hindi naman lahat. Pero, yun nga, parang karamihan o kalimitan sa mga bata is talagang teacher yung nagiging parang pinaka-main source of information nila sa lahat ng mga bagay. Hindi lang sa lessons, of course, inside and outside the classroom. Yun yung na-adapt ng mga bata. So, dapat reliable informations yung pinopost or sinasabi natin sa kanila. At, of course, the last one is temptation to assist students. So, it is important na magkaroon tayo ng positive feedback sa mga bata. Siyempre, yung gaya nga sabi ni Ms. Cherry, para alam nila yung maling, kunyari may mali silang nagawa or parang, yun nga, maling nagawa. So, at least sa ganung bagay is parang mapokorek nila yung mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin nila the next time na gagawin nila yung isang bagay. At, of course, we have to give encouragement sa kanila. So, of course, kailangan natin magbigay ng motivation or encouragement sa mga bata. Diba? Simula pa lang ng lesson is, nagbibigay na tayo ng motivation. Diba? So, motivation para yung ano bang tawag doon? Yung focus nila, yung agad nila is parang, ano bang tawag doon? Yes, yung interest nila, sabi mo, thank you. Yung interest nila is ando na agad dun sa ili-lesson mo. And lastly, believe in your students. So, maniwala ka sa kakayahan ng mga estudyante mo. So, kahit yung pinakatahimik na estudyante mo ay hindi mo pala alam
sa future maging president, di ba?
Wow.
O yung pinaka-maingay, pinaka-makulit, at parang kinaiinisan sa classroom ninyo, ay malay nyo maging billionaire, di ba? So, dapat is mahalaga na dapat maniwala tayo sa mga students natin. And, for me, ang talagang palaging nakatatak sa isip ko is the CWN. So, commitment, willingness, and love. If you are committed on what you are doing, on your passion, if you are willing na magturo, willing ka na mag-share ng knowledge mo inside and outside the classroom, kahit hindi yun yung lesson mo, kahit yun nga, sa mga bagay-bagay, and if you love what you are doing, if you love teaching, ay talagang lahat ng mga sasabihin mo is talagang natural na lalabas sa iyo. And yun yung matututunan ng mga bata sa iyo. Na hanggang paglaki nila, ay si Teacher Cherry yan yung sinabi sa akin. Naniwala siya sa akin from the very beginning. So yun. And yun yung tatatak sa kanila forever. So, and tayo matandaan na, tayo lumot na natin sila, pero sila talagang tandaan pa. Si teacher ganyan, sinabi niya sa akin, kaya ko. And hanggang ngayon, nagkagawa ko. So, that's it. So, may any clarifications, questions?
It's activity time. Are you ready? Of course, habang na nilasan namin, syempre dapat may activity tayo. Alam mo naman, wala, diba?
So, let us analyze it. So, direction. You have to analyze the video and identify which particular scenario from the video shows that there is a high-quality assessment in the classroom. Remember this direction since habang minunod yung video na i-play ko, ay mag-notes kayo, of course. It's just a oral activity, so no need to worry about writing it properly, okay? Wait lang po.
I'm a class teacher at present working in nursery. I've been at Carter Hatch for about 5 years. I'm responsible for 75 children in nursery and 6 support staff. Interactions are everything. It's in these moments we assess, plan and teach. And this process starts with all adults being available to observe and listen to children from the moment they walk into the setting. Because we start by observing the child, the interactions are respectful, exciting and engaging. Interactions take account of each child's background, abilities, additional needs and interests. Because we start with the child, we know the child. I support all my team in working in this way by being a good role model and coaching when necessary. Experience has taught us that the most powerful learning happens when we let the children lead the interactions and the adults guide them. There are a few instances, such as story time, when the interactions are adult-led. Interactions might include modelling language, demonstrating how to do something, explaining a concept, facilitating a process, commenting as children play, or by encouraging children to think by asking, I wonder how. Our interactions are our teaching. It's really important to have
quality interaction. That's when we build up relationships with our children. The more you listen to them, the more you understand where they're at ability-wise and what they're interested in. When we first start in September, we're just listening to children, playing with them, letting them take the lead so we get to know them. And then you know then how to move their learning on.
How do you do it in the cake?
You'd like to make a cake?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would too.
You'd like to make a cake? Okay, should we go have a look? I believe it's quite natural for them to just go towards something that they're interested in. They come into the setting and they're off. They have a very natural, strong desire to go and do and learn, basically. For some children it does take a little bit longer, but once they feel safe and we've built a good relationship with them and they feel confident in their environment, they know where things are, it's not really an issue. For children who don't initiate interaction, we try and understand why, and the only way you can do that is by getting to know the child. A good child-initiated interaction always follows the same sort of pattern. We observe something, we quickly assess and plan what we're going to do in our head from what we've seen, and then we implement something. So the next step is done for the child in that moment right there. For example, if the child was struggling to do up their coat, if they're struggling with the zip, we would go over and give them a bit of instruction and hopefully they would then be able to do it themselves.
It's new.
Oh, it's new coat. Is that on the zips a bit stiff?
Yeah.
That's it. Try to try again so we can get it on the right way.
Children initiate interactions all the time, so they might come and ask us for help. They might come and want to share something with us, something that they've made, something they've drawn, something that they've seen. They could just want to tell us something. They initiate interactions all the time for lots and lots of different reasons. We assess what we see and hear throughout the day by documenting it on children's learning journeys. Every week there's also 4 focused children in the morning and 4 focused children in the afternoon, and that means that they have a learning journey up on the wall. So all the interactions that we have with them, all their learning is documented, written down on a sticky label and put up on their learning journey. With each interaction, if it's appropriate, we will take a picture and that will go with it. We also have a planning in the moment sheet, so any activities that we do with large groups of children, obviously again, all child initiated, we would document that again with the picture. So we assess the children in nursery termly, and that is all based on teacher knowledge really, and we do that as a team as well, so I'll sit with some of the support staff and we'll assess the children together. We have such a good knowledge of the children because all we do is follow their lead and listen to them and play with them all day long, so we remember a phenomenal amount actually when we come to assess them. We also document the children's wow moments, so the first time that they do something on their own independently, that gets documented as well and it goes into their profile books. It's really important to differentiate our responses for every child because every child is different. When an adult responds to a child, we take into account everything we know about them. Their family life, their ability in all areas, their confidence levels. It's really important. It's how we push learning on, it's how they progress in those interactions. So every interaction is differentiated for every child. The timing of the interaction is really important. If you move in too soon, you might put a child off, you might scare them, they may not ever go near that piece of equipment or anything again. So it's always best just to stand back, just watch, just listen. You have to allow them to struggle, to know that they can't do it yet, and then you would assess the situation and help them to overcome that problem. And then you've developed their confidence and you've shown them that they can then do it themselves. Prior knowledge of the child informs everything about the interaction. So whenever we're interacting with the child, we just can recall what we've done with them before, what they like doing, and we use that to inform the next steps, the planning in the moment. One of the things that helps us to judge whether an interaction is successful or not is levels of involvement. So if a child stays highly involved, then we carry on. And as soon as those levels of involvement dip, they move away or they show that they're not so interested anymore, then the interaction has naturally come to an end. Working in this way, allowing the child to take the lead, is so magical. There are magic moments happening, something, and you're just there supporting them. So the levels of involvement are very high for most of the day, for most of the children. It's an amazing learning environment to be a part of. When you allow space and time for these child-initiated interactions, you get to know the child so much better because you're not pulled away. Every minute of every day is constructive. I would say for every child it develops confidence like nothing else I've seen. I really believe that every young child should have this experience in nursery and reception, definitely. You have to have trust in the children and you have to be calm and just let go. And it is teaching in a very creative way. It's on the spot. But if you've got time and you've got the right management around you and the right team around you who are positive and supportive, the sky's the limit. Early years practitioners have hundreds of interactions with children every day. In each interaction, they are observing, assessing, planning and teaching, and this happens continuously. If they get this right, the child will make progress as a result. Hundreds of tiny steps of progress are happening every day. Sometimes we get it wrong, resulting in the child losing interest or becoming disengaged, but as we become more skilled, this happens less and less. In this school, child-initiated play is truly valued and its potential has been demonstrated through the progress that the children achieve. The adult-child interactions are a key part of this process. We are constantly looking for opportunities to move learning forward. This relies on every member of staff contributing and interacting. This means teaching all day long. This is no mean feat, but we have very skilled staff who are passionate about this way of working and have seen the benefits for our children. We trust that children want to learn and we have found a way to facilitate and support that through our interactions.
Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's go back to the questions I gave earlier. So, what have you analyzed in the video? And of course, my question here is, just identify some particular scenario. It's 9 minutes. So, alam ko naman na madami kayong na notes about doon. So, anyone who wants to share their analyzation about the particular video of teacher Anne? No one wants to volunteer? So I will use my jar of names. Miss Kibran?
So, in the video, meron siyang strategies for teaching. So, may malawing time for initiated activity. So, dito daw, yung teacher, nag-ano siya ng, nag-assess siya ng plan and implement activities. So, next na strategy is documenting what we see and hear. So, dito, yung teacher is mag-teach ng pictures ng mga activities ng mga bata, yung mga ginawang drawings, and yung mga arts ng mga bata. And then, next is yung monitor the level of involvement. Tapos, dito, na-take note ko is to dito yung teacher, ina-assess niya yung situation kung saan nag-help niya nag-help din siya sa students. Halimbawa, sa isang activity, parang may hindi kaya naman yung mga bata. So, tutulungan niya. And then, dito na nag-create din yung confidence ng mga students. Next strategy is yung teach according to the needs of the child. Ito na-allow nila na mag-lead yung bata sa activities na pinapagawa nila. And hinahayaan nila mag-build or nag-build and create ng something and para matuto din na mag-create ng something better. And then,
remain standing, please. So, may question lang ako. So, how come na yung mga sinabi mo na, what did you say, yung mga strategies, how did you say na nagpo-provide ito ng high quality assessment sa classroom?
so, nag-provide siya ng high quality assessment kasi yung mga bata is talagang natututo sila by providing them yung hinahayaan sila na mag-build ng sarili nila, hinahayaan sila hindi lang basta matuto, kundi maka-create din ng something na mas better kasama.
Yes, thank you so much. Please give her a round of applause. So, as she said, interactions are everything. On the video, she assessed, plan, and teach so that they achieve a better quality, to achieve a high quality assessment. So, another one. I want to hear more. 3 or 5 at least. Miss Daria.
So, doon po sa video, napansin ko na sa una, yung teacher, ginamit niya yung assessment cycle. So, una, nag-plan muna siya, nag-plan, nag-assess, analyze, and then nag-implement siya. So, una, nag-plan muna siya, ano ba yung mga dapat niyang gawin para mas matuto yung student. So, yun doon papasok po yung strategy na ginamit ni teacher. Then, in-assess niya yung mga students. Then, in-implement niya kung ano ba yung gagawin niyang strategy. Tapos, sa video na yun, napansin ko na gumamit yung teacher ng yung authentic assessment na. Since hinahayaan niya yung mga students na gawin yung mga bagay para mas matutunan nila. Katulad nung naghuhugas yung bata, tapos nagbibig sila, tapos yung sabay po. Tapos dun sa, yung teacher naman, parang pinapakita na dyan na yung teacher, meron siyang trust sa bata na kaya niyang gawin yung mga, kunyari, mag-bake na, yung maghugas na kaya niyang gawin. And calm lang siya, hindi siya makapakita ng parang nagagalit siya sa, student, parang nakikipag-enjoy din siya dun sa mga bata. And yun nga, nagtuturo siya in a creative way kasi gumagamit siya ng mga activities na pwedeng mag-enjoy yung mga bata.
Yes, very good. So, just like what you've said, when she is talking, she really knows her purpose, right? Yung pagmamahal niya sa pagtuturo, yun yung masasabi ko na better, high quality teacher. Masasabi mo na hindi lamang mayaman yung school nila kasi napoprovide yung mga needs and wants ng kids. Masasabi mo na andun yung goal nila, andun yung different strategies on how they will come up with a good idea on how they will teach their students, their mga primary students lang, mga primary students sila and some of them is nasa kindergarten pa lang. Pero napapansin ninyo na she really assessed them well. So by that, ano-ano ba yung mga activities na binigay niya na na-observe niyo? Diba sabi mo nga, nagluluto sila, nag-debate, ano pa? Naghuhugas, ano pa? Yes. And more. So by that, mas ma-improve nila yung skills nila, hindi lamang physically, kundi yung ability nila to do something. So, any other one? Okay. May I call on fabricante.
Masasabi ko na namit niya yung high quality assessment kasi nga namit nung teacher yung learning target which niya na yung sa nakalagay na description of what student knowing able to do. Na sinabi kasi doon na
Yes, i-instruct mo sila, pero hahayaan mo sila kung paano nila matututunan yung isang bagay mo o yung pag-sipol. Pero tinuruan niya, pero hindi niya tinulungan mo. Parang hahayaan mo siya. Yes. Tapos yung isang bahay, parang ako lang hinayaan. Hindi ko na lang Yun lang. Okay. Thank you. Tama yung sinabi mo. Sabi nga niya, I allow them to struggle. No. Yes, don't listen to that. I allow them to explore, not to struggle. Tutulungan natin sila sa problema nila. Gagabayan natin sila kung ano ang right and wrong, just like what Jim said kanina. So, next, ikaw si Mr. Una ka, sunod siya.
Huwag na dito mga walang So the first thing that I have observed is the commitment of the teacher in teaching. And the second one is that the environment promotes a positive culture of the school. So that is an important factor for the learning progress of the students. And the teacher has the clarity of the goals of what is needed to be achieved. Then I have also observed the appropriate activities in alignment of the learning goals or objectives. So yung mga activities ko na ginawa nila and the assessment is naka-align sa interest and the goals of the teacher. So may na-notes din ako dito, documenting what is QNC. Yes. And teach according to the needs of the child. So if the activities are in align with the goals of the teacher, then there is a high chance of high quality learning. Then napansin ko din po na yung teacher she allows the students to learn by themselves or learning by doing. So i-align ko na rin siya sa phone of experiences. Well, 90% of the phone is learning by doing. That's it.
So nasabi mo na nga yung documenting what you hear and seen, right? Before assessing. So before assessing, we have to document what they are doing, ano ba yung mga, we have to analyze them. We have to list what they really, learning styles, what are their, yung mga ability nila, yung mga weakness nila. So by that, mas malalaman natin kung paano ba natin sila i-assess. Kung magaling yung bata sa mga activities na katulad ng ginawa kanina, so maaalam natin silang, why did we give them a chance to explore things and think outside the box? What if I allow them to cook some cookies? What if I allow them to wash plates? So, nakakatuwa si teacher na pinanood natin kanina kasi na-explore yung bata to do their best. And we have to remember that we have to observe, assess, teach, and plan. In teaching, we have to first observe. Why? Why did you think so? Before we assess students, we have to observe them first. Anyone? Go, Miss Cassie.
We need to observe first in order for us to align our activities and our teaching methods. Therefore, the instruction will the process na magagawa natin is yung makikater yung learning style nila, yung needs nila, at kung paano ba sila mas madaling matuto.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much for that. So, just like what you said, we have to observe them first. We have to analyze just like what I've said earlier, we have to analyze our learners. I explained it last discussion na pinasok ko yung Assure Model Lesson Plan. Di ba before we've come up to objectives, we've come up to the next step, stating the learning objectives, we have to analyze them first. So, because how can we state the learning objectives if we really don't know our learners, di ba? So, we have to observe them. The next is assess. Anyone? Why should we assess our learners after we observe? Diba? We have to observe them. The next one is, i-assess na natin sila before we come up to plan and teach. Ayan. Assessment. Ano? Ito dito na pumapasok yung different types ng assessment. Diagnostic man, formative man, summative man.
Kasi ano daw lang din na lang.
Sige, go ahead, Miss Love.
Alright. We have to assess our students. We're able to know what they can really do and what, parang kung ano pa yung kailangan i-improve nila sa skills nila or kung ano na yung kakayahan nila. Kasi, syempre, kung ano yung na-observe natin, halimbawa, na-observe natin na kaya pala nilang magtanim, tapos parang kaya nilang makipagsabayan, makipag-socialize sa iba, then, after observing them, we have to assess ano ba talaga yung kakayahan nila, kaya ba talaga nilang makipag-socialize between other students kahit hindi nila kaklase. And then, parang ang purpose kasi ng pag-assess natin sa students is to parang mas makilala natin at malaman natin kung ano ba yung kakayahan ng isang estudyante natin at kung ano yung strategies and learning methods na preferred nila para sa learning nila.
Yes. Thank you so much. So, i-connect ko to sa tinanong kanina ni Miss Majida. Is it diagnostic? Is it summative? Or what? So, eto. Hindi naman. So, dito. Katama yung sinabi niya. After we observe, we have to assess them. Kasi, how can we come up with a good plan, which is the next step, if we don't observe and assess them? So how can we come up with the next step if we do not assess them first? So dito na papasok yung plan. So why do you think plan is important in high quality assessment? Madami pa o ano? Gusto niyo pa? Miss Bell. Planning.
Kailangan mag-plan para na hindi magulo yung pag-implement mo nung kung ano man yung i-apply mo na method. And syempre kapag nag-observe ka and assess, yung plan ang next na step. So, pag-planning, dito mo na ipapasok kung paano mo kung paano mo gagawin yung instruction, kung paanong method yung i-apply mo, kung ano gagamitin mo mga activities para mas matuto yung mga bata, and after yung activity na yun, malaman mo kung yung bang na-observe mo at na-assess mo is na-i-apply mo doon sa pag-implement mo yung instruction ng activity.
Yes, thank you so much. So katulad ng sinabi mo, we have to plan after we assess our learners. So di ba dun kay teacher kanina, pinaplano niya muna ng mabuti, katulad ng sinabi sa interview, she said that she really planned it well, she really take notes on what she really want to do in the particular hour in the classroom. So, dito, sa pagpa-plan, mas makikater niya yung, ano ba yung goal mo? Ano ba yung goal niya sa loob ng classroom na yun? Kung ano yung mga flow na gagawin niya para matuto yung bata. Hindi lang basta matuto, on how she will engage their students in the classroom na hindi mapuboard yung isang bata. Kasi, di ba, katulad ng sinabi ko nung nakaraan, hindi lang naman tayo basta magtuturo, di ba? Kailangan din natin na iset aside yung feelings nila. Kailangan natin nila malaman kung ano ba yung mga kaya nila. Halimbawa, kung ano ba yung mga gusto nila sa classroom. And by that, mas malalaman natin yung learners natin. Mas makikilala in exact terms. So lastly is teach. So this is the last part. I'm sorry for my So why should we next teaching after we've come up to a good plan? Can you please answer my question? Miss Aban.
So, yung teaching. So, gano'n lang ako. May ano ka na, may mga methods ka na, and may nagkaroon ka na ng activities na implement mo. And ayun na, doon na nagkakaroon ng yung pag-deliver mo ng information sa students.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Dahil natapos na tayo sa pag-observe, nag-assess tayo ng bata, and we plan what are going to teach. So, dito na papasok yung teaching. Di ba? Katulad ng sinabi niya, magtuturo na tayo dito. Kasi natapos na natin yung kung paano natin tayo magkakamag sa good lesson. So in teaching, dito na magkakaroon ng progress yung bata sa learnings nila. Kasi tayo yung magtuturo sa kanila eh. Hindi lang naman natin sila tuturuan ng kung anong lesson lang, yung uupo ka lang doon, okay class, ganito lang, ganyan lang, ganun lang. Kasi some of the teachers, ganun lang yung ginagawa nilang strategy. Yung hindi nila ipa-prioritize kung natututo ba talaga yung bata sa ginagawa nila na nakaganito lang dyan, tapos ganun lang. Kaya naman magbibigay lamang ng learning modules, tapos sabihin na ganito yung gawin ninyo yung mga ganyan, na hindi man lang nila naiisip na natututo ba talaga yung mga estudyante ko, di ba? So dito, we have to teach them really well. Enable us to proceed to, enable us to come up with a good progress. So enable us to achieve this progress of the students, we have to remember that observing is important before we assess our learners, and after we assess our learners, we have to plan on what we should teach. Naiintindihan mo ba?
Yes!
Okay? Do you have any question? Activity time again. So direction, who wants to read? Mabasa lang? Ay, speak ka naman sa yan. Miss Lola. Basa lang.
Create your own situations that caters high quality assessment in classroom. Write your answer on page.
Yes. So dito naman, since nanood yung video kanina, di ba? So dito naman gusto natin kayo na you have to create your own situation. Kahit ano. Depende sa inyo kung paano nyo ba na-observe yung tunay na high quality classroom. In an essay form, of course. So, I want you to write it on a yellow sheet of paper. Yellow pad. It's already 10:21, so you may submit it to Miss Corada. Thursday? Yes, on Thursday at our father's Yay!
Who is our secretary in the class? Miss Amito, can you please attend the sheet since may mga absent po pala. Excuse me, please. Go back. Nag-message naman siya. So, wait lang. May criteria sa inyo. Wala lang, nilagay lang namin yung graph. Kasi ang cute kong highlights.